Your podcast, I genuinely mean it. I never say anything on the show that I don't mean. It's the funniest podcast I've ever heard.
Oh, thank you.
He's only listened to one podcast.
I listen to podcasts all the time, and it's hilarious.
You're coming on, aren't you? We're going to.
You coming on?
Drag you on.
How could I not come on your podcast?
Yeah, come on.
It's warm and it's edgy. It's magical. I love everything. Everything. There's nothing I don't like about your podcast. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's really funny. You pack so much in. It's instructive. It doesn't take itself too seriously. You two have never taken yourselves too seriously, which is one of the best things anyone can take things seriously, but just not yourself.
Yeah,
you can be serious and responsible when you're required to, but don't ever be serious. That's when we're all at our worst. I've done it 1,000. I've done it last week. Did it just probably do it in a minute, right? But you don't do it. At least not on your podcast, anyhow. You open with Q&As from the listeners. You have voicemails on the show. I love. You're welcome to the show, Nick, every week, where you say, welcome to Dish Podcast with Waitrose. I'm Nick Grimshaw. Today's episode may contain mild swearing and mild adult narratives. Mm-hmm. How do you categorise those?
Well, it's something Angela and I take into consideration every single week.
Mild.
Yeah, mild.
So mild stays in.
See, listen, when I was little, I could swear in the house if it was funny. So I wasn't allowed to be like aggressive swearing. You weren't allowed to call someone a swear word. Right. But if I was doing, a caricature of
Sweary
someone,
Mary.
then I could swear if it was funny. So I think that swearing's okay for a podcast.
Is that mild? Is that the mild bit?
If it enhances a story or you're doing an impression,
Yeah.
But if Angela called me something, it's not mild.
Drawing the line. Got to draw the line
and
somewhere.
It is edited, and it's only edited so it skips along even more sort of sweetly than it would do anyway.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Because it's so. Talk about free and easy, and the crew are laughing in the background. It reminds me of the Big Breakfast and all that.
Yeah.
You sound like you're having such a giggle.
It is fun, isn't it?
Yeah,
it really is fun, and we didn't want it to be like a interviewee podcast because there's loads of them.
But it is interviewing.
It is interview, but I thought it should be more just like leaning more towards radio than podcast.
Well,
a bit loose.
It works, man.
Yeah, I like it. And we don't record too long, do we?
No.
Because I heard Graham Norton of Virgin Radio fame doesn't record his chat show for too long.
Yeah.
When you do telly and they record it and they're like, we're going to film for 6 hours for half an hour, and everyone hates it. Apparently he says, let's just get it done.
Yeah.
Because then everyone's like on it.
Yeah, they're on it, and that's why I used to like live telly, because live telly takes as long as you see it takes.
Yeah.
And everything else is the opposite, even the simplest shows. People do... it's not a nervous show at all. And people only come on the show who have heard that you're great from people who you have mutually in common, or who know you're great and just want to be around you. However, there is a bit of... There are moments where people are starstruck, and you call it something. It's called Angela Panic, isn't it?
People get Angela Panic.
Tell me about Angela Panic.
Angela Panic. People get a panic for certain people in this life. Like, there's certain stars that everyone has a panic for.
Totally.
And... people have Angela Panic. Yes, do.
They do.
When
Angela.
I had people round for my birthday in August. Like, few people round in the garden. Not a party, but like my family came, few friends, whatever. When people found out Angela was coming, in the garden.
I know.
I was like, no, it's too close. It's not big enough. So they were freaking out that Angela was going to be just in my kitchen. And people were like, oh my God. And all sorts of people. Everyone from my mum to, the neighbours. Like, everyone was freaking out about Angela.
And it happens when stars come on the show.
Uh-huh.
So they're quite at ease with being interviewed. They've been interviewed before, public facing, all this kind of stuff. But Angela's in the house. And then, I don't know, I obviously, you can see the podcast. I don't see the podcast. I listen to the podcast, but you can see it. It's beautifully... I've seen bits of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what you must give them a look.
No, I think people love food and have so nice, joyous experiences of food.
Oh no, I know.
They must have gone.
It's not
and
the death stare.
No, it's more like the accolade of Angela, not the danger of Angela.
It's I know.
It's a different kind of panic.
Did your family and friends think that after I fell off the garden bench after your party?
You ruined the mystique.
What happened, Ange? Tell us more about
I don't
that.
know, lots of rosé being drunk, and I sort of, garden benches can be a bit unstable. I sat at one end and the next minute on the floor in front of Nick's mum.
Now you can talk about. So Waitrose must be loving this because you can tell it's caught light. This show. It's called Dish, by the way. It's a podcast from wherever you get your podcast. It's half an hour long. If you look, I don't care if you don't like podcasts, you don't like me, you don't like these two, you don't like life, right? give this podcast 5 minutes and tell me you want to turn it off because I won't believe you.
Yeah.
The Q&As are great. So share some wisdom with us. How do we get our broccoli to taste amazing, for example? So simple.
Great olive oil, some nuts in there, lovely garlic grated at the end. Just toasted nuts,
Let's keep the garlic theme going.
Yeah.
How do we not burn our garlic in the pan?
Don't put it too hot. Come on, it's simple. It's not, that's the thing that Nick always... I suppose because it's like you guys doing your job as, radio host, DJ, it's effortless with you guys. And I sort of sometimes I find that with cooking. So when Nick always goes, how do you doing that? I think it's amazing that he's even asking that question because I think it's simple. But it is the simple things that people struggle with, that sort of...
I'm like, how did you do that? And she's like,
yeah.
I just did it! And I'm like, yeah. How?
But also it's ingredients like the vinaigrette and stuff. You were like, how'd you? I said, Dijon mustard. Dijon mustard makes everything taste good.
Yeah, Rob Delaney was a big fan of the mustard, wasn't
Loves
he?
the mustard.
How great is Rob Delaney, by the way?
What a great guy.
He's episode 1. He's guest number 1 on series 2, episode 1 of Dish, this amazing podcast. I would love to come on your podcast.
Please.
I will only
Come on, then.
No, I have a condition. It's not an objection and it's not a negotiation. It's a condition, and if you say no, it's a no.
Okay.
Go on.
Okay, this...
We're like anticipation.
Right.
It's like walking the plank.
This stems from me being a fan of everything we are now fortunate to be part of.
Okay.
The best shows I ever watched or heard, right, were shows where I thought, they look like that might be happening after they finish doing the bit that we're hearing and watching. Mm-hmm. If you carry on having the fun that you're having, if I were to come on the podcast afterwards for about 2 days, and then I'll come...
Yeah, fine.
Plan.
Because what you don't want is to... Because I was like running across London today and I'd listened to the first 2 podcasts of the new series. There's only 2 available. And I was... Sorry, 3. And I was giggling away and I was thinking... Oh, this is so funny. And I just wanted, for your sake, not for my sake, because it was 4:30 in the morning, I hope this carried on afterwards. Yeah. How often does it and how often doesn't it?
Well, Angela, how many restaurants have you got? 5?
4.
4. Just the 4.
Just 4.
So often she will come and record Dish and then be like, right, I've got to go and run a kitchen.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time Angela raps on the podcast and jumps on a bike and cycles, I know, to the Waitrose to get all the food
and
in
you've
for
been
the
around
restaurant.
this a lot, haven't you? This
But there are times, there's been some times, who was our first guest from, oh God, this can be terrible that I've forgotten.
Stanley Tucci.
No, the guy who did with Jeremy Clarkson, he did the...
James May.
James we could not get rid of.
He was there hours.
He was there, eating the cheese, drinking the wine.
He's got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So who else do you have in your sights then?
Who else we got on our sites? We've got on... we've got Chris Evans, which is really exciting. He's confirmed
Ruby Wax is coming.
Yeah, Ruby Wax, Prue Leith.
Yeah, Scott Mills.
Scott Mills is coming on. We have Charlotte Church coming to see us next week.
Yeah, we've got loads. Gordon's probably going to come on later in the year. Big Ramsey, he'll be on.
See, it's funny because Alex Jones's husband, Charlie, used to work for Gordon Ramsay as a chef.
Yeah, I know.
Also, Alex on this week's podcast, I loved. Like, she's mad. In the best way.
She's mad and she's really funny and she's really, really, really clever.
Yeah,
she
and
is.
really funny. And she told that really good story about you making her drive a bus.
Well,
and she crashed
I didn't make her drive a bus. She did crash into a Waitrose van.
Yeah.
Which obviously fitted in with the sponsor. I didn't make her drive it. No, I did make her drive it. No, you're right. I did make her drive it. But she also tells that story about when she was sailing around the world with the Volvo sailing racing team.
Exactly, yeah.
Some mad old stories, doesn't
And Lionel Richie, when she caused it.
I told the Lionel Richie story before.
She is brilliant.
She's brilliant.
So when are you coming on?
Whenever you like.
Okay.
Literally, as long as we carry on.
Yeah.
But I mean, don't give me that look, Angela.
Don't say you've... Angela's always got to, go and cook
I know, because we've been in before.
Can someone defend me?
No.
Look at them picking on me,
you need defending.
I think after every record, we go to that pub round the corner.
Yeah.
You said to us.
You know what? I'll take you to the French house, and then we'll go to Sandra's. That's the deal.
And then we'll go out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, plan.
The only reason I say this
is
because you said that to me last time.
I know, but
you said
I'm waiting
you'd take me to Sandra's.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for Ewan, the busiest man in the world, to give us some dates. So I blame Ewan.
All right, let's blame somebody else. Let's blame somebody that's not here.
Yes,
let's point as far away from us three as possible.
All right, that's a date then. We'll do it.
What have you learnt from Angela? And Angela, what have you learnt from?
Ooh, I've learnt from Angela. I stress out when I cook. You know, you have people around for tea, it's a bit stressy. Like, you get your house ready, you're cooking, and you're a bit, like, cranky with, like, your partner. Angela's like, forget it. And this is a quote direct from the mouth of Angela Hartnett. It's only a bit of food, innit? Yeah. Only a bit of food, innit? And that's all it is, and you stress out about it. So now when I cook, I don't stress at all. Yeah. And it's only a bit of food, isn't it?
What about you, Ange?
I've learned properly do your research in a way, you know, because you can sort of wing it sometimes on these things, you know, but actually Nick's really thorough about it. And I like the way he always thinks out of the box. You know, he'll challenge everything, which I think is really good. And I think that's what makes it really fun and exciting.
And you didn't know each other before.
No, we
you
didn't.
put together, you know, literally sort of synthetically put together to see if it works. Screen test, mic test, pod test, whatever you want to call it. And it just happened.
Yeah. We had like, a chemistry test. But Angela didn't read the email and thought that she was coming to be a guest on my podcast as opposed to hosting it.
Which is
so she thought she was just there for a one-off.
Well, it's gold, man. It's absolute gold. I love it.